Hello everyone, and welcome to a new video. This time we'll be discussing about Leo, our new Tempest Trial unit, and how he stacks up against other easily obtainable unit. Spoiler alert, this is just like a fairly underwhelming unit, though definitely not to the same extent as R, because, I think he's the only free-to-play, unless you count Cecilia, which you can actually, considering she does come as a 2-star and a 1-star, but the point is Leo does have competition with Cecilia, but that's the only real free unit we have when it comes down to grain horses. Now, his stats are just like the red one, but slightly more min-max. That does not mean it's better than the base one. As a matter of fact, I'd say this one is either worse or equal to Summer Leo, which I did not think I would be saying, ever. But here we are. Because the thing with Summer Leo is his extreme res, his good attack, and actually work with no follow-up, not no follow-up, no C disrupt, and completely obliterate, say, Cecilia and Veronica at the same time. Obviously his defense is very lacking, obviously he has a lot of problem with that, but he's an infantry unit and that gives him an edge. What Leo tries to do is what Cecilia used to do over a year ago when Lynn and Reinhardt were a really strong pair that a lot of people were using before Veronica came out, which, to be fair, is really good. The problem is it's terrible on a horse unit. Because if you're an horse unit, you don't get access to Null C Disrupt. Null C Disrupt is a perfect B skill to completely destroy anything. As a matter of fact, if he was an infantry unit, first off, he would have 10 more BST, because apparently Mage Cav in 2019 still don't get the Gen 3 BST treatment because they're mages, and mages are too broken apparently, while the infantry one do. Don't ask me why. I have no fucking clue. They don't make any fucking sense. But say he was an infantry unit, he would have 10 more BST. Say he had 2 to all stat to make up for it. I still wouldn't care. It would still be a good unit. Because what you would be sitting on is a mixed tank user that can actually use Raven Tome and break down Lynn, Veronica, and Reinhardt all in one go. But because he's a horse unit, he does not get access to no C Disrupt, so he just gets hit by Veronica, then Veronica gets danced or whatever, or get repo into a dancer that dances her, and then she just kills something in the back, so who cares? Welcome to 2019, ladies and gents. And this is why Raven Tome should have built-in an OC Disrupt, but whatever, I suppose Raven is still too broken as is. So, he can't really do his role really consistently as a Cav unit, so what else does he have? Well, you do have the one thing going for him, which are Blade Tome, because he hits hard. After all, his base version uses a Blade Tome and he does just fine, right? The thing with the base version of Leo is that he's red. Red has a competition of 3 units. Leo, SM Erica, and at the end of it, Grail Devoted Titania. And all 3 of those are good, but you still don't have enough to cover all 4 seasons. You still always have access to one at all time, even if you slap a season to each of those, which is still fan-fucking-tastic. But until we have like 5 Red Mage Cav, Leo will never be irrelevant right now. Green Mage Cav, there's plenty of those in the game, but they are fairly hard to obtain, so at this point you can make a case that Leo gains from this. Still, it's nowhere near as much as the other Leo, because the other Leo, you'll be happy to get him regardless. If you already have one, it's QR fodder. If you don't have one, you have a fantastic unit that can one-shot Surters, that can one-shot every green armored unit like they're nothing in Arena Assault, and that's what makes them really good. This Leo is green, so that roll, first off, is already shaky at best. But, on top of it, because he's green, how many blue armored unit do you see nowadays in Arena? There's Harden, there's Brave Hector, and there's Legendary Tiki. Legendary Tiki is going to rip him in two, most likely. Just because it's Legendary Tiki. Legendary Tiki hits like 40 to 50 res. She can take a hit in a decent chunk of time, sometimes not, but Death Tile just fucks everything up, and certain maps will force you on a Death Tile, in which case you're in danger. Prepare to get fucked. So, yeah, it's kind of shaky, and the other blue are not really consistent. Sometimes you'll see Effie, sometimes you'll see Gwendolyn, but those are not really difficult to deal with anymore. So, it's already shaking the department, and then if you look in greens, there are so many greens that can face tank a fully buffed Blade Tome from him that it's not even worth mentioning. And because he has no speed, more or less, apparently, I'll get back to that later, he just can't double. And since he can't double, well, what do you do? It's either he one-shots or he dies. There's no in-between. Unless the enemy is idiotic enough not to have DC or a DC weapon like Tiki has or something like that, Leo will not be consistently helpful to you, and that's a problem. Especially considering the +1. This is what I meant by apparently. His speed is so high at level 1 that he gets a point in speed from the merge update. I wish I was joking. The motherfucker starts with 11 attack, by the way. Or is it 12? I'm not even sure. Like, he starts with as much attack as Ophelia does. You know, 37 attack, that jumps into 41. Yeah, he has 33 attack at 40. Why do you start with so much attack? And then you look at his other stat, he has, I think, 6 speed, 6 res, 5 death, and like some HP, I don't care. I think it's like 15. So, his res and speed are equal, but which stat comes first on the board? It's speed, so he gets a point in speed instead of res. Real cool, guys. So really, his merge update only gives him 1 HP and 1 attack. The speed is never going to matter. Can you imagine if you wanted a good Leo ult and God said, fuck you? This is basically what this is. As for the comparison, I've already mentioned Cecilia, and there she is. There's not much else to say here. You will beat her at least in attack and defense by 2 points. If you go for the Grun Raven set, that is. The problem is, when it comes down to Cecilia, a lot of people have her already merged up to some extent. Because Cecilia has been a fan-fucking-tastic unit at the start of the game. And also in the middle, because of Reinhardt and Lynn. She was just one of your best counter for both of these. And therefore, a lot of people have her merged up. If you have her merged up, Leo is not worth it whatsoever. And if she's +10, well, Leo can go fucking die for all you care, probably. Because at this point, the only thing that he's worth it for is the fact that he has QR at 5-star. And you get him at 5-star, so it's a free QR3. Or DD3 if you give a shit, but you can just use the 4-star for that. Even then, it's... DD3 is not good. You need DD4 to really make it work, because that completely puts a break to Blade Tomes. But enough of the bullshit. Outside of this, it's just not that great. And as you can see with the middle version, Cecilia has a super boon in speed. That's 4 points of speed. 33 speed with 36 attack. Yeah. And then you're on Fury, and on Cavan you have 42 speed with a Blade Tome. Oh look! You actually have a speed stat, unlike Leo. Oh no. Yeah, it's rough. It's really rough. And Leo is sitting at 26 because of his speed merge. Great. At the end of the day, I can't really say that you should invest in a plus 10 Leo, because even though he does technically become better than Cecilia at plus 10 at dealing with the Reinhardt-Lin combo, the second he has to deal with Veronica, he becomes useless. Because Veronica can just do free damage to him or debuff him, and there's nothing he can do about it. Except take it like a bitch. That's really the best way I can put it, and it's depressing. Absolutely depressing, but there's no other way to put it. This sucks. This absolutely sucks. And that's why there won't be a build here. So, moving to the tier list. As you can see, his placement is surprising no one. He's B tier. Because at the end of the day, even Female Robin is better than him. Female Robin can buff everyone in your party by 4 if it's a tactic team. And has a Raven Tome pref. If you run this with No See Disrupt and, you know, Triangle Adept, or, you know, just increase those stats as much as you can to deal with Cancel Affinity on Lin, well, she's going to do basically everything Leo here is trying to do, but better, because she has access to No See Disrupt. It's kind of just how it is. It's not that Leo's a bad unit, it's just that he has a bad movement type. This type of stat line, if it wasn't an infantry unit, would be insane. Absolutely insane. Like, to put it simply, if he was an infantry unit with this stat line and say, oh, 4 def, 4 res, and 2 more attack, I could easily make the case for an S tier placement. That's how good his stat line is. But, unfortunately, he is a horse unit, and a horse unit have access to 0 fucking toy. So what you see is what you get when it comes down to stat line on horses, unless they have a pref that can really push it. Sandwiches is not great. Going back to the stat line, which, by the way, if sandwiches looks a bit awkward how it looks here, it's normal. I had to do it myself because Zanuck was busy at work, and I forgot to ask him when I was asking him for the better quality screenshot of the stats. So the fault is on me, not on him. So I ended up having to do it from scratch myself. So sorry if it looks awkward. That's just why. But sandwiches is not that great of a weapon. It gives 4 attack and res 1 attacked, which can be pretty good if you're dealing with Lin, Reinhardt, and Veronica, but since he can't really do that consistently, then this weapon is kind of useless, if I'm being honest. Honestly, I kind of wish it was giving attack and def plus 4, because that way you'd be able to refine it to res and have 34-34. Or, not 34-34, 31-31. And also increase his attack, which could be pretty good if you had No See Disrupt. I hate bringing this up, but Jesus Christ, it's so true. So, yeah, it's fairly awkward, is what it gets down to. It's not a bad weapon, like I said, if you're dealing with those units, because typically if you're dealing with those units, you might not be able to kill all of them in one round, and then if they get danced, then they get to hit something behind you. unless you put them in a choke point and have no one around them, in which case an alto will do you bad because you're leaving your allies open. Same thing if you use bond skill. It won't work in those cases. However, like I keep saying, he doesn't have access to no-see disrupt, so that role is not really a role he can really fulfill to begin with, can he? So, yeah, it's just fairly unfortunate. If you had no-see disrupt, this would not be a problem. Well, you'd be just running Distant Def 4 with QR and... or, no, you'd have no-see disrupt, QR in the seal slot, and Distant Def in the A slot with buffs, and, you know, everything would be great. You'd be able to hit over 40 def and res. And depending on how your team comp is, probably even able to hit maybe in the 50. If you'd run double bond skill, you could just, you know, one-shot a good deal of those units. But you don't have access to that, so that's unfortunate. And that's why he's B tier on the tier list. There's just not much I can really do here when it comes down to Leo to really make him working out, rather. But, oh well, not much else to say here. And with that said, everyone, I suppose this completes it for the in-depth analysis when it comes down to Leo and the tier list update. So I'm gonna see you all later in the comments, and before I leave, I should also mention, if you're interested in my Refine Theorycrafting series, I'm planning on making a new episode and probably record it tomorrow. I don't know exactly at what hour I'm going to be able to start, but it should be 10, well, not 10 a.m., but like 12 a.m. at worst, hopefully. Comes down to how well I managed to sleep tonight, I suppose. If things go really badly, I might have to wait until 1 p.m., but obviously all those times are in S, by the way. But we'll see. Either way, if you want to actually participate on deciding which unit I do decide to work for a refine on, you may want to join my Discord, because then I actually notify people whenever I go live. So, with that out of the way, I'll see you all later. Thanks for watching.